hopefully you can hear, I finally turned down the volume on human resource machine. Also, it looks like they got the achievements working. An update got applied to the game, and I'm guessing that's what it was, because I just saw like 3 or 4 achievements scroll up before I started recording. And here we are to number 16, I think it was. I should have read the title before. Yes, welcome back. Tick, tick, tick. Time keeps ticking down, let's get to work. Oh, yes. I love done with your hair. Okay, I don't know why that's relevant. Let's see, for each number in the inbox, send that number to the outbox, followed by all numbers up to or 0. Numbers down to. Let's see, so, okay, so for, let's see, so, you get new commands. They add 1 or subtract 1 from an item on the floor. The result is given back to you, and for your convenience, also written right back on the floor. So, what we need to do is count down which... Oh, okay, so I get this. I thought we were having to, like, count down the number in a different way. So this is actually a little bit simpler than I thought. So what we need to do is we copy this to the floor for later, and then we're going to we're going to have a positive, so we're going to want to bump minus from 0 and then put that on to the outbox, and then jump back here, and then if it's 0 we want to jump out without taking it to the outbox, and if it's negative then we need to bump plus down here. I'll put that in front of that, then take that to the outbox, and then if 0, wait a second, so if it's 0 we do want to put it in the outbox, right? Yeah, okay, so we want all numbers to 0, so up here we wanted to put it in the outbox and then jump out, same with here. And then once it gets here, it just needs to jump back up to the top so you can repeat it. I think that'll get everything. Let's see how that works. So we'll put that down, and then so we need to copy from 0 first. Yeah. So he'll put it down, now he'll go copy it. Now he'll put that down. Okay. So obviously I forgot to copy from in a few places. So after every outbox he needs to copy from 0. But luckily the value is going to be the same because we only use this first one. Good. Now we'll get it and do that. 1 and 0. And now it'll go back to the first. Good. Now we'll just see, and if this works I'll just speed it up so we don't have to watch it. No! I shouldn't have done that, but why did it? Oh, I forgot. It has to jump back to the start of this unless it's 0. Duh. So now they should both work. Yeah, I forgot, the one we have, should be gesturing with the mouse, you can't see my hand, but, I forgot that I had this jump up here in if it does have 0, then they just need to jump back to the start because they only need the outbox 0. I'm pretty sure if I'd written it a little better, it would, you know, have included 0, but I think it's working. What? Oh. It's a little hard to jump with 0 if it's automatically jumping ahead. Yeah. It's like 5. There might be a few stupid mistakes. What? You stupid thing. Yeah, you really gotta be careful about how you jump and end up messing them up. There we go. Good. Haha. How badly did I fail? Yeah, I used like, 17. Now we have 20, and we'll probably... I should check what time I started this. Yesterday you were learning about adding. Fond memories. We worked so hard back then. Yeah, I did. So for each 2 things in the inbox, multiply them and outbox the result. Don't worry about negative numbers for now. You got labels. They can help you remember the purpose of each tile on the floor. Just tap any tile on the floor to edit. Oh, so they've given us a piece of code already. Copy from 0, copy to hello. So we're gonna take to the inbox, copy to 0, get from the inbox and copy to 0, and then we want to multiply them. Let's see. Move this here. I don't know why. So let's see. So this is okay. Maybe labels don't actually work. Because it just I can't get the game back up to take up the entire screen. Oh, that's gonna be annoying. Let's see. So I just want to see. Set it down. Good. Hello. Hello there. Let me think. So 6 times 3 is 18. I could add 6 to 3 6 times if I had like a what I could do is then add this to 0 and then bump down hello and then copy from hello and then jump back to do that. I just want to see if that's going to destroy the value. So So 5 times 4 is 20. Ah, that's the problem. I'm thinking in this of terms of what to do to make 5 times 4 equal 20, not to make one number times any other number equal any other number. So what I need to do is this one. Oh, that's interesting. So this one is going to be the adder. You can see my penmanship. There we go. Oh my gosh, it looks more like ander or something. So yeah, this one, so it'll put it in here. It'll copy the first one to here and the second one to here. So we need to base how many times we multiply it off of this second one, but we also need to be adding it by adding the first two together. So this is going to be I'm gonna just call it safe, because what we're gonna do, I think, is we will add these two together and the value will be the same. Then we're gonna bump down or bump up the adder one based on if it's negative, and then once we've done that, we're gonna copy this from the floor and add it to hello if it isn't 0. And I probably want to get rid of this real quick, so gotta think about this rationally. So now that that's done, what we're gonna do is if it's negative, we're gonna skip here. So if it's not negative, then we are going to add, so we will have just copied to here, so we need to copy from hello. Let's just see how that does. So we put it down, get 4, now we add 5 to 4, stop. And then we're going to copy that to the safe place, and then bump down adder, and then if adder isn't 0, then we're gonna jump back up to the top to add hello again. Let's just see, so we have 3, so we should see 3 getting, so we should put down 7 in the safe place. I forgot I need a master jump. Oh, if it's 0, it needs to jump out. If it isn't, it just needs to actually jump back in. Okay, my mistake. So 1 and 3. So yeah, as long as, oh, we don't have any negatives right now. Okay, confused. Okay, go away. So obviously, what I forgot to think about is what it's doing is the safe spot is working fine, I guess, but what we need to do is when it jumps, I'm trying to think of how to do this with the least commands also, just so you know. So what we need to do really is, so the safe thing is working fine, we need to copy let's see which value we're losing. We're losing the one from adder. So we still have the one from adder, so we're gonna copy it to another spot. We're gonna copy it to 1 because what we need to really do is we add the hello, and we'll already have the one from adder. Then we copy that to safe, and then we bump down the adder one, and then we'll have adder. But then we need to copy from 1, add it to hello, and then add that value to safe, and then restart the process using the jump if 0 to check for whether or not it's 0, and that should just add this value, and then once it's 0, it should take it to the outbox and then jump back up to the top. We don't need this jump if negative, it's that there are no negatives, I realized. I'm guessing that's the next step though, but see, so this is a little bit more complicated because I'm trying to actually use the floor. Okay, so now we're still adding 7. Why'd it add that twice? Uh-oh. Okay, it's got itself into an infinite loop. So if adder gets to 0, it needs to skip out of this anyway. So sorry, I keep like leaning in because it got smaller. So I think that our problem here is that when it jumps up, it's adding hello again, but it's not checking for the adder thing, because let's just see. Okay, so there we have our original. They get added, it kicks that down, then it gets the 2 and adds it to the 4, and then it adds those together. Okay, but it isn't putting it down on safe again, so what it needs to do is, so this first hello can be skipped when it jumps, okay, because that's just to make sure it gets added the first time. Okay, so that'll add, and it should get up to like 60. That was a bad choice. So if it does jump out of here, it needs to copy from safe first to make sure that, you know, it's taking the right value. 4 times 3 is easier. We should get 12. Okay, already it's too high. 4 times 3, how do you do that? Without a specific multiplier. Yeah, I expected 12. Don't give me a multiply command, I kinda have to think up on the fly. Let me think. So I think we're along. Oh, I know what I need to do. Okay, so what we're gonna do is when we get this first, okay, so multiply them and outbox the result. Okay, so what we need to do instead of the way I've been doing it is when we copy this one to hello, we also need to copy it to 1 because we need to be adding those together. So then we get the inbox, and that's how many times we multiply it. So then what we're going to want to do is copy from 1. So it's timesing 2 by 2, and it does that an amount of times, and then it just adds what it gets together, and hopefully that should fix the problem. So what it'll do, oh no, okay, that's one problem. Let's see, what did it do? So here, so it copies that there, go slow, and then it needs to copy back from 1 to add to hello. Okay, so that's how many times it's going to multiply it. So there's 1. 6 times 4 is a number. So yeah, that's timesing by 3 now, and we need to just do it a certain number of times. already forgot what the original value is. Fudge. It's still doing like 12, which is 4 times 3. 4 times 5, it's 20. 20 isn't 5 added 4 times. 20 is 5 added 4 times. I'm gonna look at this a little bit off camera and see if I can get it to go big screen again so you guys aren't having to look at all that extra space. I also have to go eat breakfast, and then I'll look at this a little bit off camera and see if I can figure out, like, if I've just accidentally put one command in here that's screwing the entire rest of it up. I'll be right back. Hello. Sorry, I'm back. So, as you guys should be able to tell by looking at the screen, I did a little bit of off-camera work, as in I completed 4 stages, well 5 if you include the one we were on, and that is because these 4 stages took me about a month to figure out. But anyway, I'll just really quickly show you the solution. I'm not actually sure what happened to the video of the other 4 though, because I know I did one of them totally off camera, but the other 4 I was sure I had recorded, but I'm not sure what actually happened to it. It just kind of disappeared. So this is the one that we were stuck on. As you can see, the final solution that I came up with isn't actually that long. And what it does is it takes the inbox. I need to actually remember what it does. So it outboxes it. Oh yeah, and then if it's negative, it does something else. Oh wait, no, we're outboxing a countdown. Shows you how long it's been since I did this one. But anyway, so then, yeah, what we do is if it's 0, we go back up to the top, then we outbox it, but then we check if it's negative, and then we just bump it up and do the same thing as if it's positive, except instead of bumping down, we're bumping up. And then if it's 0, it just outboxes it. So yeah, I'll just, I forgot I can't scroll through that. And you'll see that's 17 commands and 103 steps. So here's really quickly just what it looks like. There. Nope, this is the button I want. Anyway, so then the next one is multiplication workshop, and remember we're going to try all of these extra ones after we get to the top. Actually, we'll probably do sorting floor and then save this until all the others are done, and I'm not gonna try and 2-star them or anything. That would be crazy. But anyway, here we go. Multiplication workshop. Is this actually the one we were working on? I can't remember anymore. So anyway, this one also turned out pretty simple in the end. What it does is it copies to 0, or copies from, I should say. And what are we even doing? I haven't done this in so long. Multiply them and outbox the result. Don't worry about negative numbers. Oh yeah, that's all we're doing is multiplying. So what I have it doing is adding. Let's see, so we're doing 4 times 4. So 4 plus 0 is nothing. Then it takes 3. 4 plus 4 is 8. 2. So basically it just adds those together, the hello and the number 1, until it's 0, and then it outboxes that. And it doesn't worry about negatives, so yeah. That's all it's doing. we go. It was pretty close to 17, and it's more steps. I meant to click back to elevator. Anyway, now we're on to 0 terminating sum. This one was the more fun. So what you do is the string is marked by a 0, so I just have a bunch of jump if zeros and adding. So let's see, they're all basically really small strings. So see, it just takes and adds it, and then it copies it and outboxes it if if a 0 comes after it. So now it just adds those two, and yeah, that's all it does over and over, is adds them until a 0 comes along. And if there's 2 zeros, it'll outbox a 0. And yeah, it's actually really small code compared to the one I wrote for number 25. Number 25 is insane. But then again, you'll see why when we get to it. 23. Okay, here we go. So we send only the smallest number that you've seen, and you will never be given an empty string. And yeah, this one they're getting longer. So basically we're just bumping them all down all at once, one at a time, and then if there's 0, we're jumping out. But then we're taking this 7 over here. Oh, I didn't want to do that. So I'll just let it run. So what it does is, until it finds a 0, it copies those onto the floor. And then when it does find a 0, it takes the 0 and copies it to the remaining floor tiles that hadn't been filled up. And then it just bumps down each one of them until it finds a 0. And then if it goes all the way through, it bumps that 7 up by 1. So our biggest number here will have been 2. So it's detected that now, and it bumps up 7 to get the correct number, and then outboxes it. And it gets really crazy when you get up to like 99, but luckily there's a 6 included in there, so it won't take absolutely forever. So you can see what it's doing. It's just bumping down each one until it finds 0, adding 1 to it to make up for that one that's taken off, and then that's how it finds the smallest. And yeah, I could make that a lot simpler. Anyway, this is year 25. Oh my gosh. So for each thing in the inbox, you have to outbox the sum of itself plus all the numbers down to 0. So like 7 would be 7 plus 6, 7 plus 5, 7 plus 4, 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Now that wouldn't be so much of a problem, but they only give you 6 tiles to work with, which means I use 4 of them. I'll just explain the code. I wrote it earlier. So what I do is, no matter what happens, I copy from 5, which is 0, and then I copy it to all the others to just clear everything after every run. And then I grab from the inbox, and if it's 0, then I just outbox 0 because I don't want to do anything with it. And then it resets every time. But if it's not, then it copies that to 4 because that's our starting number, which is the number that we're going to add every other number to. So it copies it to 4 and copies it to 0. Then it bumps down 0 and then just does the chain, which is this. And if it's 0 at any point, it takes it and adds it to either just these two if it's only a 1, these two if it's like 2, these two if it's like 3, these two if it's like 4, and it just adds more and more. But if it gets to the point where it's added all 4 of them and the number in here wasn't 0, then it gets to this code here, which is it copies, it adds 4 at the very end, but then it copies to 4 again and copies from 3, which was the smallest number, puts that on 0 and restarts the process again. And this down here is where it gets complicated, because this is the adder that won't result in this that this is basically a second addition, which I didn't need thinking about it now. But then if it's 0, it'll jump out and outbox that. But if it's not, if it's like a 7 where we'll still have 1 left over, no, it's 8 that does that. If we have 8, there'll be still 1 left over. What it'll do is it'll copy everything to 4 that it's found so far, and it just jumps back up here, and yeah, see, it just copies it again, and then just repeats itself. So, oh, this code. It took a long time to figure it all out. And yeah. I'll just, instead of, like, expecting you guys to have understood that, I'm just gonna scroll down through it. And yeah. I would have made it on camera. In fact, I think I actually started recording this on camera, but it took so long to figure out. There we go. But anyway, now to end off this super long in the making episode, we're gonna watch Midnight Petroleum, year 27. Who's that? What happened to the other 3 ladies? Oh, there's the sun. TV's off. Whoa. I forgot how funny the faces are. Well, that's the moon. It's too early in the morning. It's the moon. And bye-bye. Whoa! What in the world? What in the... Oh my gosh. Oh, it's the robots. I remember early in the game they were like on the news, robots are going to take over. And now I guess they've replaced the moon with a giant eye. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. My name is the Rad Man. I'll see you in the next episode when we do these 4 over some period of time. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.